Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. An interesting classic TV phenomenon unintentionally came to fame, commonly known as the outtake or blooper reel. I recently came across a YouTube video called Couple Outtakes, which I'll leave a link to in my description. The great Jack Klugman introduces the short as a tribute to his friend Tony Randall. He also describes what is known as a spit take, which I'm sure you'll get a kick out of. Fans, and especially in this case the live audiences, loved these as it showed their favorite actors being human. It was real-time humor, usually caused by having laughing attacks or breaking out of character and ad-libbing just to relax the fact that they just flubbed their lines. Fortunately, that never happens to me. For the pet, Hanna-Barbera awkwardly just spy. Hanna-Barbera awkwardly just splice. Hanna-Barbera awkwardly just Hanna-Barbera awkwardly just spliced. Hanna-Barbera awkwardly just awkward. They included the likes of Caesar Romero. They included Caesar Romero. Tony Orlando. George Takei. Bernard. That episode gave us all a shit. That all. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. In the 70s, an interesting crossover occurred when certain real-life classic TV shows were readapted into Saturday morning cartoons. Common recipes for these were usually a laugh track, a token animal character or two, and a science fiction or supernatural storyline. It would likely include some slight alterations to the original show titles, for example, The Brady Kids or Gilligan's Planet. For the Partridge Family 2200 AD, Hanna-Barbera awkwardly just spliced the Partridges with the Jetsons. In contrast, the critically acclaimed Star Trek the Animated Series won an Emmy for its outstanding entertainment, complete with new storylines. Remarkably, in many cases, the producers of these Saturday morning tunes were able to reassemble some, if not all, the original cast members to voice their iconic characters. In 1980, while Happy Days was still in primetime, ABC created the cartoon The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang, featuring the voices of Henry Winkler, Ron Howard, and Donnie Most. In 1981, the Happy Days spin-off Laverne and Shirley had its Saturday morning makeover with Laverne and Shirley in the Army. And in 1982, yet another spin-off also joined in, thus creating the dubious title of Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley Fonz Hour. Although these cartoon concepts didn't hang around long, it's still fun to go back and watch them. As corny as some may be, it's still amazing to hear the characters' real-life voices. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Ripcord was an action-adventure series that ran from 1961 to 63 for a total of 76 episodes. The show's main two stars were Larry Purnell and Ken Curtis, who later went on to play the iconic Festus on Gunsmoke. As a skydiving team, they would jump into weekly adventures such as chasing bad guys or performing dangerous rescues. In the lead role of Ted McKeever, actor Larry Purnell became a familiar face in films and television throughout the 60s and 70s. But perhaps he's best remembered on the Beverly Hillbillies as Ellie Mae's love interest, Dash Riprock. I always thought that sounded like a Flintstones character. Turns out, Purnell had talent in other fields as well. Baseball fields, that is. He played on a full sports scholarship at USC, and before he even graduated, Larry moved up to the pros, playing for the Braves minor league team. Setting an RBI record and hitting 18 home runs during his first season, Purnell then spent 7 seasons on the Evansville Braves. After serving in the Korean War, his contract got picked up by the Brooklyn Dodgers. But instead of showing up for spring training in New York, Larry headed to LA to pursue acting. Sports writer Furman Bisher is quoted saying of Purnell, "He would always be frustrated, wondering what a great star in baseball Larry may have become." Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Underdog ran from 1963 to 72 with 124 episodes. And being in the top 50 of TV Guide's greatest cartoon characters of all time, just where did he come from? Created by a New York ad man in a campaign for the kids' cereal giant General Mills, Underdog was the brainchild of William Watts Biggers, whose nickname was Buck. Yep, Buck Biggers, who also wrote the awesome theme song. With his ad partner Chet Stover, they were vying for a special primetime Saturday morning TV slot. But they had competition. Their similar adversary had firmly established itself in the cartoon world 2 years earlier, and it was known as the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show. Buck claims to have said that up against this competition, we're the underdogs, and the name stuck, and the rest was cartoon history. With the success of their superhero canine and the full team of Biggers, Stover, Tread Covington, and Joe Harris, the production company Total Television was born. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Lost in Space began as a dramatic sci-fi adventure series, but after the first season, it gradually took to the hyper-colored camp craze of the 1960s, and a Season 3 episode titled The Promised Planet was no exception. Tricked into thinking they've reached their final destination of Alpha Centauri, the Robinsons land on a planet run by well-behaved teenagers? Actually, they were just well-disguised, blue-skinned aliens trapped in their adolescence, led by the evil Bartholomew and his second-in-command Edgar, who was played by Keith Taylor. You may remember him from roles on Leave It to Beaver, My Three Sons, and Star Trek. The diabolical aliens plot to abduct Will and Penny with the hopes that a blood transfusion will help them age. Wait, they want to age?
All I want to do is be able to shave, see?
And upon discovering their evil plan, Dr. Smith gets threatened into playing along. While the Promised Planet was not as historically memorable as, say, the Great Vegetable Rebellion, Smith, as a dancing space hippie, was definitely a camped-out classic.